What if the most toxic person in your life, the one who drains your energy and makes you question your own sanity, isn't a person at all? What if that hidden enemy, that frenemy who smiles to your face and plots your downfall behind your back, is not an external force you must fight, but an internal ghost you have failed to acknowledge? What if the feeling of being stuck, of pushing a boulder up a hill only to have it roll back down every single time, isn't a sign of a cruel universe, but the signature of a master architect, your own subconscious mind, building a prison for you brick by painstaking brick, and handing you the blueprints every single night in your dreams? This is not a comfortable idea. It's a seismic shift in understanding that will rattle the very foundations of who you think you are. For too long, you have been taught to look outward for the source of your suffering. You blame your boss, your partner, your parents, the economy, the world. You've become an expert at identifying the warning signs in others, a connoisseur of toxicity, a warrior arming yourself for a battle against a world that seems hostile and unforgiving. But Carl Jung, one of the greatest explorers of the human psyche, presented a truth far more profound and terrifying. A truth echoed in ancient esoteric teachings known as the Law of Mentalism. This law states in no uncertain terms, the all is mind, the universe is mental. Your reality is not something that happens to you. It is a projection of what is happening within you. The world you experience is a ruthless, unflinching mirror of your own inner state. Today, we are not just dipping our toes into pop psychology. We are diving headfirst into the abyss of the unconscious mind. This is the ultimate guide to understanding how the Law of Mentalism, explained by Carl Jung, how your subconscious creates your reality. We will dissect the mechanisms of this projection, expose the shadow self that secretly runs your life, and give you the tools not just for self-protection, but for a total self-transformation. This is your wake-up call. The life you are living, with all its frustrations, its betrayals, and its limitations, is a script written by a part of you that you do not know. It is time to seize the pen. The first and most fundamental pillar of this entire concept is the ancient Hermetic principle. The all is mind, the universe is mental. At first glance, this sounds like abstract philosophy, something to be debated in an ivory tower. But when viewed through the lens of Carl Jung's psychology, it becomes terrifyingly practical. Jung didn't speak of a universal mind in the abstract. He gave it a name and a structure, the collective unconscious. This is the deep, inherited layer of the human psyche, a reservoir of all the experiences, fears, and archetypes of humanity. It's the source code of our myths, our religions, our symbols, and our most primal instincts. You are not just a single, isolated mind. You are a node connected to this vast, ancient network. Your personal unconscious, your repressed memories, your forgotten traumas, your unacknowledged desires is the terminal through which you access this collective field. Now combine this with the law of mentalism. If the universe is mental and your mind is connected to the source code of all human experience, what does that imply? It implies that the reality you perceive is being filtered, colored, and constructed by these ancient, powerful archetypes residing deep within you. The toxic boss is not just a difficult person. He may be the living embodiment of the tyrant king archetype, activated in your psyche by your own unaddressed issues with authority. The fake friend who betrays you is not just a flawed individual. She may be the manifestation of the trickster archetype, brought to life by your own self-sabotage and unconscious need to be proven unworthy of true connection. These aren't excuses for their behavior. Their toxicity is real. But your attraction to it, your repeated experience of it, is the clue. The universe, through the language of your subconscious, is using these people as props to show you what's broken inside your own psyche. You are stuck in a loop not because the world is out to get you, but because an archetype within you is on a loop, playing out an ancient story, and you are its unwitting lead actor. Breaking the cycle doesn't mean finding better people. It means resolving the inner conflict that summons these characters into your life in the first place. You are living in a world sculpted by mind, and the first step to changing that world is to realize you are not just a citizen in it, you are its co-creator. This brings us to the second crucial principle, understanding the dynamic of the projector and the screen. Your subconscious mind is the projector. Your outer world, your relationships, your career, your health, your finances is the screen. The film being played is a collection of your deepest beliefs, fears, wounds, and most importantly, the parts of yourself you have rejected, your shadow. Jung's concept of the shadow is perhaps his most vital contribution to personal development. The shadow is the dark side of our personality. It's the repository of everything we deem unacceptable about ourselves, our aggression, our envy, our greed, our vulnerability, our passions. We spend our entire lives trying to repress it, to pretend it doesn't exist, because our ego, our conscious sense of self, our carefully constructed persona, cannot handle the shame of it. But what you resist persists, and what you refuse to see in yourself, you will be forced to confront in the world around you. This is the core mechanism of psychological projection. Your subconscious, the projector, takes the despised contents of your shadow and plays them on the screen of your reality, casting other people in the roles of your disowned traits. Let's make this brutally clear with an example. Consider a man named David. David sees himself as a good person, kind, patient, never one to make waves. His persona is that of the nice guy. Yet he finds himself constantly surrounded by what he calls arrogant, manipulative bullies. His business partner walks all over him. His neighbor is aggressively loud and disrespectful. He even perceives strangers in traffic as personally targeting him with their aggression. David's reality is a constant battle against these hostile forces. He spends his energy complaining, feeling victimized, and trying to protect himself from this onslaught of toxicity. Now let's apply the law of mentalism through a Jungian lens. David has spent a lifetime repressing his own aggression. As a child, he was punished for standing up for himself, taught that anger was bad. So he locked that part of himself away in the cellar of his psyche, his shadow. He created a persona of being a nice guy as a survival mechanism. But that raw, powerful, assertive energy didn't disappear. It festers in his unconscious. Since he refuses to acknowledge his own capacity for aggression and assertiveness, his subconscious projector casts it onto the world. He meets his own disowned shadow in the form of his bully business partner. He confronts his own repressed anger in the face of his aggressive neighbor. These people are not illusions. Their behavior is real, but David's hypersensitivity to it and his magnetic attraction to these scenarios is the key. He is being haunted by the ghost of his own potential. The universe isn't punishing him, it's trying to show him what he needs to integrate. The bullies in his life are a desperate message from his subconscious, screaming, "Acknowledge me, use me." There is a healthy power in aggression that you are refusing to own, and until you do, I will keep sending you monsters to show you what it looks like. David's path to freedom is not to find a nicer business partner or move to a quieter neighborhood. That's just changing the screen. The projector will simply find new actors for the same role. His true path is shadow work. He must have the courage to go into the cellar of his psyche, turn on the light, and face the part of himself he has labeled the bully. He needs to recognize that aggression in a controlled form is assertiveness, that a killer instinct, when channeled, is ambition. He needs to integrate this shadow energy, to learn to set boundaries, to speak his mind, to stand up for himself not with rage but with strength. The moment he does this, the moment he owns his own power, the film changes. He will either no longer perceive his partner as a bully, or he will develop the strength to leave the partnership. His neighbor's noise will either cease to bother him, or he will find the courage to confront him effectively. The screen of his reality transforms because the projector is no longer playing the film called The Victim and the Bully. It's now playing The Sovereign Man. This is the brutal but liberating truth. If you see monsters everywhere, it's time to look for the one hiding inside you. So how does the subconscious projector communicate? How does it choose the film to play? This leads us to the third principle, the language of symbols. The unconscious mind does not speak in plain English. It speaks in the ancient primal language of symbols, dreams, and synchronicities. Your rational, conscious mind deals with spreadsheets, schedules, and logic. Your subconscious mind deals with myths, metaphors, and feelings. When you ignore this symbolic language, you are essentially flying an airplane with no instruments in a storm. You are a puppet, and the symbolic messages are the strings. Jung placed immense importance on dream analysis for this very reason. A dream is not random neural firing. It's a direct, unedited letter from your subconscious. It's a nightly diagnostic report on your psychological state, revealing the inner conflicts that are being projected onto your reality. But it's not just in dreams. The subconscious communicates through what Jung called synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that are so unlikely they seem to defy chance. It's when you're wrestling with a decision and the exact phrase you need to hear is spoken by a character on a TV show you randomly turn on. It's when you're feeling lost and you keep seeing the same animal or number over and over again. Your rational mind is trained to dismiss these as mere coincidence. Your soul knows better. These are signposts from the deeper self, nudges to get you to pay attention to the script being written for your life. Imagine a woman, Sarah. She's in a relationship that looks perfect on the surface. Her partner is successful, charming, and everyone tells her how lucky she is, but she feels a constant low-level anxiety she can't explain. She feels drained, a subtle sense of being trapped. She tells herself she's just being ungrateful, but her subconscious is screaming at her. She starts having a recurring dream. She is in a beautiful golden cage. She has food, water, everything she needs, but the door is locked and she has no desire to even try the lock. In her waking life, synchronicities appear. She keeps misplacing her keys. She'll be driving and a song about being a prisoner of love will come on the radio 3 times in one day. A friend gifts her a necklace and it's a bird with a broken wing. Her conscious mind, her persona, ignores all of this. It's focused on the perfect relationship, the social approval, but her subconscious is painting a crystal-clear picture using symbols. The golden cage is her relationship. It provides security and looks beautiful, but it's a prison for her soul. Her lack of desire to even try the lock in the dream reveals her own complicity, her own self-sabotage in staying trapped. The lost keys are a blatant symbol of her losing the key to her own freedom, her own autonomy. The broken-winged bird is a symbol of her own spirit, unable to fly. Her reality of feeling stuck and drained is a direct manifestation of her ignoring these messages. The law of mentalism is at play. Her inner state of imprisonment is creating her outer experience. The anxiety isn't coming from her partner's actions. It's coming from the violent conflict between what her soul knows, I am trapped, and what her ego is telling her, I should be happy. If she continues to ignore this symbolic language, her reality will likely escalate. The subtle anxiety might turn into a full-blown panic disorder. The feeling of being drained might manifest as chronic fatigue. The universe, through her subconscious, will turn up the volume until she is forced to listen. The actionable step here is to become a student of your own symbolic language. Start a dream journal. When you wake up, before your logical mind takes over, write down everything you remember, the feelings, the images, the characters. Don't try to interpret it immediately. Just collect the data. Pay attention to synchronicity. When a strange coincidence happens, don't dismiss it. Write it down. Ask yourself, what was I just thinking or feeling before this happened? What could this be a symbol for in my life? This is not about becoming superstitious. It's about developing emotional intelligence and a relationship with the deepest part of your psyche. You are learning the language of your inner architect. By understanding the symbols, you can begin to consciously collaborate on the blueprints of your life, instead of just living in the building your unconscious built out of fear and repression. Understanding the principles of mental projection and symbolic language is the diagnosis. But diagnosis without a cure is just a well-documented death sentence. This brings us to the fourth and most powerful principle, individuation as conscious creation. This is the cure. Individuation was Jung's term for the process of becoming a psychologically whole, integrated individual. It is the journey of unifying the conscious and unconscious parts of the self, of integrating the shadow, of understanding the anima or animus, the inner feminine masculine, and ultimately of bringing the ego into service of the true, deeper self. In the context of the law of mentalism, individuation is the ultimate act of reclaiming the projector. It is the process of moving from being an unconscious creator of your reality to a conscious one. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. It is the essence of shadow work. It requires radical, brutal honesty. It demands that you sit with the parts of yourself you find most repulsive. Remember David, the nice guy haunted by bullies. His path of individuation required him to admit, yes, a part of me is aggressive, a part of me is a bully, and I need to own that power and learn to use it constructively. Remember Sarah, trapped in her golden cage. Her journey required her to face the unacceptable part of herself that was terrified of being alone, the part that would rather be a prisoner in a perfect relationship than face the uncertainty of freedom. One of the most powerful techniques Jung developed for this process is called active imagination. This is not simple daydreaming. It is a conscious, structured dialogue with the figures of your unconscious mind. You get into a relaxed, meditative state, and you bring to mind a figure from a dream or a strong emotion you're feeling. Let's say you're overwhelmed by a feeling of not being good enough. In active imagination, you would give that feeling a form. Perhaps it's a small, cowering child, or a harsh, judgmental critic. You then engage it in a dialogue. You don't fight it. You don't try to banish it. You ask it questions. Why are you here? What do you want from me? What are you afraid of? Imagine doing this with the bully archetype from David's psyche. He might see a snarling figure in his mind's eye. Instead of running, he would consciously face it and ask, "What is your purpose?" The figure might respond, "To protect you. You're too soft. You let everyone walk all over you. I am the strength you've thrown away." This is a revelation. The monster is not a monster. It is a rejected savior. The goal is not to kill the figure, but to listen to its wisdom and integrate its energy. David could then say, "I understand. I need your strength. Let us work together. Guide me in being assertive, not destructive." This is the hard work of breaking cycles. Every time you consciously engage with a shadow aspect and integrate its energy, you are rewriting the code of your subconscious projector. You are taking a negative, repressed trait and transmuting it into a positive, conscious strength. This is how you stop self-sabotaging. Self-sabotage is simply the shadow acting out because it has been ignored. When you give it a voice and a job, it stops trying to burn the house down. As you do this work, your perception of reality fundamentally shifts. You stop seeing a world full of toxic people and start seeing a world full of messengers. A difficult encounter is no longer just a bad day. It's a data point, a clue pointing to an inner dynamic that needs attention. You protect your energy not by building higher walls, but by resolving the inner conflicts that make you vulnerable in the first place. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You become an alchemist of experience, turning the lead of suffering into the gold of wisdom. This is the path of individuation. It is the messy, terrifying, and ultimately glorious process of becoming the master of your own mental universe. This entire journey, from realizing the universe is mental to consciously creating your reality through individuation, can be best understood through our final principle, the alchemical transformation. The ancient alchemists spoke of turning base metals like lead into pure gold. The popular belief is that they were crude early chemists, but Jung saw their work for what it truly was, a symbolic representation of a profound psychological process. The lead was not literal lead, it was the chaotic, unexamined, suffering-filled state of the ordinary human psyche, heavy, dark, and poisoned by the unconscious. The gold was not literal gold, it was the integrated, whole, and enlightened self, the result of the individuation process. The alchemical vessel, the container where the transformation took place, was the human being themselves. The fire was the suffering and conflict of life that forced the transformation, and the stages they described, negrito, albedo, rubedo, are a perfect map for the journey we've discussed. Negrito, the blackening. This is the first stage. It's the descent into darkness. It's the moment you stop blaming the world and have the terrifying realization, the problem is in me. It's the start of shadow work, the confrontation with your own ugliness, your own repressed rage, envy, and fear. This is the stage of David realizing he is attracting bullies because of his own disowned aggression. It's Sarah admitting her perfect relationship is a prison of her own making. This stage is painful. It feels like dissolution, like everything you thought you were is dying, because it is. The false persona, the ego construct, must be burned away to reveal what lies beneath. Most people run from this stage. They distract themselves, they numb themselves, they go back to blaming the screen. But there is no transformation without the fire of negrito. Albedo, the whitening. After the blackening comes a purification. As you consciously engage with your shadow, as you use active imagination and dream analysis to understand your inner world, you begin to separate the true self from the repressed complexes. It's a stage of illumination. You wash away the projections. David, by integrating his aggression into healthy assertiveness, no longer sees a world of bullies. He sees a world of people, some of whom he needs to be firm with. The emotional charge is gone. He has washed the projection off of them. Sarah, by acknowledging her fear of being alone, can now see her partner clearly for the first time, not as a jailer, but as a person with his own flaws and merits. She's now free to make a conscious choice about the relationship, based on reality, not on her unconscious fears. This stage brings clarity, relief, and a dawning sense of inner peace. You have reclaimed your mind. Finally, rubedo, the reddening. This is the culmination, the creation of the philosopher's stone, the unification of opposites. This is the stage where the purified consciousness, albedo, is reunited with life, passion, and the body. It's not about becoming a detached, navel-gazing monk. It's about bringing your newfound wholeness back into the world. You are no longer driven by unconscious complexes or the need for external validation. You act from a center of authentic strength. You create not from a place of lack or fear, but from a place of purpose and joy. The law of mentalism is now your greatest tool, not your cruelest master. You consciously hold the reality you wish to create in your mind, a reality built on your true values and deepest self, and you watch as the universe conspires to mirror it back to you. This is not manifestation in the simplistic sense of just thinking happy thoughts. It is the inevitable external result of a radical internal transformation. You have turned the lead of your chaotic, reactive, unconsciously created life into the gold of a conscious, purposeful, and authentic existence. You have not just changed your life, you have become the conscious creator of your reality. We have journeyed into the heart of a difficult and demanding truth. The law of mentalism, as illuminated by the profound work of Carl Jung, places the full weight of responsibility for your life squarely on your shoulders. It tells you that the world is a mirror, and if you're living in a reality of frustration, toxicity, and limitation, you must look inward for the source. You must accept that your subconscious mind, with its repressed shadows and forgotten wounds, is the projector shaping your experience. But this brutal truth is also the key to your ultimate liberation. It means you are not a helpless victim. You are not at the mercy of a random, cruel world. The power to change everything you experience lies not in changing the world, but in changing the mind that perceives it. This path requires you to stop being a passive observer and become an active explorer of your own inner universe. It demands that you learn the symbolic language of your dreams and synchronicities. It insists that you have the courage to face your shadow, not as an enemy to be vanquished, but as a source of lost power and potential to be integrated. This is the great work of individuation, the alchemical transformation of turning the lead of suffering into the gold of a fully realized self. The choice, as always, is yours. You can continue to believe you are a pawn in a game you don't understand, forever reacting to the moves of others, forever trying to protect your energy from a world you see as hostile. Or you can accept the truth. You are not a pawn, you are the player, the board, and the creative force behind the game itself. Stop breaking the mirror, stop fighting the reflections, turn inward, do the work. Pick up the pen and write a new script for your life, one born not of fear and shadow, but of wholeness, courage, and conscious creation. Your reality is waiting for its new architect. Begin.